Well,
Oh,
happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Hi, Jill.
hi, good morning.
Good morning. Special day today. Veterans Today again. For veterans. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and you're watching The Today Show. And on Thursdays, we feature special communities, our veterans, our First Nations people, our disabled community. And so today, I always love it when Jill joins me for veterans because she is one. We got the real deal here. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Laurie. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, weathering the heat. It's still hot
Hmm.
in Drayton Valley. We reached an all time high of 40 degrees Celsius the other day,
Oh, wow.
and I took a picture of it on my thermometer. And whoa,
It's been
yes,
a hot week. Yeah, here in Edmonton, it's hot as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's summer.
And hey, I was out yesterday doing a few groceries, and one of the women said to me, "Oh, it's so hot." I said, "Listen, it'll be no time, and the snow will be flying, and it'll be blistering cold out there. So
Right?
get over it."
Oh, I know. Like 6 months from now, it's going to be the opposite in the negatives, the negative 30s. So, yeah, I'm not
Exactly.
complaining. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving my flowers. My flowers are growing and they're thriving in the heat now, finally. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Great. Well, we are expecting a guest, and I'm not sure where he is, but my good friend Al Cameron, he's the executive director of Veterans Voices of Canada, and he started his organization probably a good 15 years ago, maybe almost 20.
Hmm.
And he's a history buff, and he's originally from Nova Scotia, and of course, so am I.
Oh,
And he had family members killed in World War II, and he went and visited the spot where they passed away. And he's just really passionate about World War II and the history of World War One. He has a museum in Red Deer. We should go sometime.
you know what? I didn't know he had a museum in Red Deer. I knew he was in Alberta, uh,
Yes,
and
yeah,
and I haven't met him yet, but I've known of him, and we've been linked up on Facebook through different
right.
organizations over the years. He's been doing
Okay,
great work. Yes.
cool. Well, I have a very cool story about, and if he doesn't show up, well, he's not here to defend himself, so I guess it's okay. But we we met him at a networking event. He had a table next to us, like a trade show thing.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, of course, we got into a big conversation with my sister because she was there representing us, and we're from Nova Scotia, and so she introduced him to me. So he came out to my home, and we were in my office, and I had lots of photographs up on the wall. And actually, that photograph is downstairs in the office. And he said, "Is this you being interviewed on television?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "In Halifax?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I knew I had met you before."
Oh,
I said, "Really?" Yeah. He said, that's Dwayne, the host." I said, "Yes." I said, "She's a friend of mine." He said, "Well, guess what? I was her cameraman with Global."
oh, right.
And
He had a background in
I
it.
was in the studio with the camera the day you were there.
Oh, wow.
And
Hmm.
here we were years later, and met up in Alberta. Can you believe it?
It's so amazing sometimes.
I know. And we've been in touch ever since and have supported his, fundraisers and actually the Flags of Remembrance 2 years ago or three.
Mhm.
I purchased a flag and plaque for my dad,
Right, in memory of him. Yes.
memory of him, and sent it to my mom. And then I had one done for Ron. So
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah, so that was that's a great event.
Hmm.
Yeah. So today, have you got any personal updates or how are things going for you?
I'm just trying to stay cool, doing little jobs outside. I'm preparing a flower bed, so I dug up a root ball yesterday. That was fun. Uh, yeah, I'm doing. I've never had a garden before,
Okay.
and so this is all new for me. I'm not a gardener, but I'm learning. I'm
Yeah.
open to learning. And so, yeah, I worked with the Army and I dug a couple of trenches in my time, and I never did enjoy that either. So I was having some memories yesterday, hopping on this shovel and jumping on it and trying to loosen up the soil. And so I felt good once I got the root ball out of the ground, but now today is phase 2. I have to keep continuing to loosen up the soil and to get some of the rocks out and prepare the flower bed for some perennials that I found on sale. So yeah,
Yes, it's a good
I need to
time.
get it done. It's going to take me a few days.
Yeah.
But I'll be happy with it, I'm sure, when it's done.
Hmm.
Yeah, living alone and taking care of a property is a lot of work.
Yes, it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
Now, I think we'll start just because of our special guest we're going to have next Thursday. Would you like to share with our viewers the Quilts of Valor? I don't know much about that or anything much about it.
Mhm.
And I'd love for you to fill us in, take a few minutes to fill us in on that. What does that actually mean and what is it?
Well,
Quilts of Valor.
it's interesting. I found out about Quilts of Valor almost 15 years ago in Ottawa. I started working at the Ottawa Hospital Cancer Center, and there was a woman who worked in payroll who said, "Oh, you're ex-military. Do you know of Quilts of Valor? I'm a quilter." And I thought, no, I've never heard. And so we got to talking, and I said, "Well, how do we nominate people?" And next thing you know, I started nominating people I knew who were eligible. It's an organization that was initially founded in the U.S. and in the mid 2000s, I believe 2006, there was an Edmontonian, Leslie's Wall, who heard about Quilts of Valor in the US. She's a quilter extraordinaire here in Canada. And there were some injured soldiers who had just returned from Afghanistan via Germany. And they were in the U of A hospital, and one of them is a double amputee. And so she went to the hospital and presented these veterans with the first few, I think the first 3 quilts.
So it's an actual quilt.
Yes, and they're made by volunteers across the country. Um, and so since 2006, they have presented more than 20,000 quilts across the country. 20,000.
Wow.
And so I started volunteering. I don't sew a button, nothing, but I do the fun thing. I get the fun job of nominating eligible veterans and presenting them. And
Nice.
so, it's almost like the big reveal, because you never know. They're all works of art, and so I worked with them for a number of years, and I've met some wonderful people in the organization. And they were just here in Edmonton at Quilts Canada, which is an annual convention of quilters across the country, and so I went and had said a brief hello to the booth at Quilts Canada and said hello to the volunteers there, and saw the new president, Lisa Clark Compton. She is also a veteran. And so I said, "Hey, Lisa, I know of a show that would love to host you." And so she's going to be coming on next week, and she'll be able to share some stories about her involvement with Quilts of Valor. And yeah, each quilt takes around 60 to 80 hours to make.
Mhm.
And some are hand stitched, some are machine stitched. Just depends on the volunteer and what's available. There's no set pattern of quilts. They come in different colors, different designs. Um, but they've had some panels that have been featured by local Canadian artists. With poppies. Poppies are the most favorite and most popular design.
Mhm.
But Yes, I've had the privilege of presenting quilts to some World War II veterans at St. Anne's Hospital, um, and I tell you, it's always a very powerful moment when you're able to put the quilt around the recipient and to say thank you for your service and your sacrifice.
Wow.
Their
Well,
motto is a hug in every stitch.
yeah.
And for
Wow.
some veterans, they say that their quilt means more to them than their medals, because it's
Wow.
it's an acknowledgement of their sacrifice. Because
Right.
To be eligible, you need to have it's service-related injuries or a deployment in a special duty area.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow. Well, a couple of things coming up for me. Number one, this is something that most people would not know about me.
mm-hmm.
And I have quilts all over the place. I used to make 2 a year.
Oh,
Yes, all hand stitched though.
oh my goodness.
And I'd make the quilt tops, the patterns in the winter. And then in the summer, I'd open up my garage door and I put up my quilting bars in the garage and I quilted in my garage because I had the old fashioned quilt bars that you put the whole quilt in it,
Like a
right?
frame.
And a frame, yes. And so yeah, I used to make 2 quilts a year. And also in our indigenous community, getting wrapped up in a blanket or a quilt is also a very sacred, significant form of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
They have a specific star quilt that they use when it comes in different colors, but it's usually this big star in the center
Yes.
triangle made out of the triangles. But yeah, quilts are really, and you know this because you've been in my office and you know my connection with butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
And my 2 grandmothers both quilted. Of course, everybody did in those days. And I have framed my dad's mom, who passed away in 1936. My dad was only 14.
Mm-hmm.
And the last quilt she ever made was a butterfly quilt.
Oh.
And I have a picture of it downstairs in the office. Both my grandmother's quilts, my sister provided that for me. So, and quilts are a big East Coast thing too. Everybody, you learned how to quilt when you were a kid because somebody always had a quilt in a frame somewhere, and there were quilting parties, and you went and you group of women around the quilt for an evening, all quilting, hand stitched. Yeah, they're a lot of work, but they're amazing.
I couldn't believe when I went to Quilts Canada the first time when it was in Ottawa in 2018. It's such an industry. I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
And some of the quilts, there was one quilt that's on tour. It was an award-winning quilt, and it had the constellations all hand stitched. It took 3 or 4 years to make,
Oh wow.
and it was quite large. And it had the astrological
Mm-hmm.
stars, and oh, it was just beautiful. And some of them are 3D,
Yes.
and the textures and so on. They're quite talented. They're works of art, and
Yes. Absolutely.
and I couldn't. Some people would show up, volunteers. What they do is they sell these hug blocks. They call them. They're just these little kits to make a block for a quilt top.
Okay.
And it takes about around 92 or 98 squares to make a certain pattern quilt that they have available on their website. And people show up with just stacks of hug blocks that they've sewn in their spare time.
Yes.
They say, "Here you go," and then they just donate it and walk away. They
Wow.
provided the fabric themselves, and they knew that they got the pattern online,
Mm-hmm.
and they just donated. And then other volunteers will put the blocks together and sew the topper, and then other volunteers will do the quilting and the long arming.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I tell you, the machines that they use nowadays, well, that they have,
Yes.
they even
Yes.
thread their own needles.
Yeah. I know.
Maybe even I can sew.
Yeah, there you go. You don't have to know much. It's like all the new cars. You don't have to know how to drive. You just get in and
Exactly,
steer, right?
yes. But it's beautiful to see. There's a lady out of near Kingston, and I went in to see her long arm. She actually built an addition on her home to facilitate this huge long arm machine that she had. And she puts the quilt out, and then she programs the machine. And boy, oh boy, there's a real trust factor when you hit the start button because this whole thing is
You
laid
can
out. You got to
imagine.
trust the patterns locked
Oh,
in and everything's
yeah.
positioned right, and you got enough thread. And oh my goodness, yeah, they're
Yes.
very talented, very talented.
Great. Well, we're going to take a little break. And so that's one thing that's available for veterans is to be honored via Quilts of Valor. And like you said, we'll be talking to the
Lisa, yeah,
Lisa. Yes, I was going to
next
say
week.
Louise. Lisa next week.
Yeah.
And so also too, this week we launched our opportunity for people to advertise on our show. So if you have a product a program, a service, an event coming up, we would like to showcase you in between talking with our guests and our co-hosts. So let's take a little 30-second break. And I actually yesterday mentioned that I practiced this. When I was on my 14-hour drive,
Mm-hmm.
there was a 30-second break in the music track I was listening to, and I was practicing, well, how much could I say in 30 seconds? And
Oh,
we can say lots in 30 seconds for
you
sure.
can.
Okay, so here we go. Look who's here. Look who's here. Where have you been hiding that handsome face? You're driving and you don't have any sound. He's going somewhere. No, there's no, you're muted or something. There's no sound. We can't hear you. Okay.
Drive safe. Nope.
No. No. Okay, wave. Okay.
He's going to come back, go out and come back in.
Okay. That's the founder of our channel, the Disability Channel, Jay Stoyan, and he's always keeping an eye on everything that we're doing, and he's particularly, of course, interested in our veterans. And so I had invited him to just do a quick appearance if he wanted to share about the channel and how we support a huge employment program for veterans. So there's another service coming up that we're going to talk about. And Jill has some resources too that she's going to share. So we're just here today to talk about services available for veterans, to recognize our veterans, to service our veterans. And today is Veterans Day. Yay!
Yeah, thank you. You know,
You're
it's wonderful
welcome.
that you're shining a light on veterans causes and veterans advocacy. It's important. It's definitely needed. And you know, Veterans Affairs, you know, it's a love-hate relationship, I think, for many with Veterans Affairs, because the bureaucracy is so difficult, and people tended to give up at a certain point when they're trying to figure out their benefits and services. But you know, they're doing their best. I believe that I know that I have been certainly helped by Veterans Affairs over the years. It took a while before I even applied. And it was through other veterans that I found out about certain programs that were available to me. And thank goodness I found them.
For sure.
But and one organization that started off with a veteran saying, "Why are there homeless veterans here in Halifax?"
Right.
And so a program started called Veterans Emergency Transition Services, Vets Canada, VETS. And now they have partnered with Veterans Affairs to provide emergency services for veterans in need. And I think it's Jim Lowther is the founder. I have reached out to Vets Canada on behalf of a veteran in Ottawa during the start of the lockdowns. It was a single dad with two daughters, and he didn't have enough groceries. And so between the food bank and Jim Lowther, we managed to, and Vets Canada. And it was Jim who answered the phone, but he never said who he was, but I know it was him.
Okay.
They're available 24/7. There's a VETS.ca, Vets Canada. Google Vets Canada, and you'll find they're available 24/7, and there's a 1-800 number there. And they've been doing great work to support veterans in need. And it's unfortunate. They used to do boots on the ground with other volunteers to walk the streets of different major cities in Canada to find homeless veterans.
Are they across Canada?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, they do have a network. And so if they can't get somebody to you, they'll find a way to help you in one way or another.
Oh, wow.
Where you're located. and they
Well,
go
there's
up, they
another
go
valuable,
above and beyond for sure.
well, there's another valuable service that someone listening may not know about,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and
I know.
a lot of these organizations are started by veterans,
I
which
bet,
is,
right?
I'm so proud of like the Canadian Walk for Veterans was founded by a veteran group with the Equitas Society, and then you have Veterans House. So you got Stephen Beardwood in Kingston, who's also working with Mefloquine Awareness Canada, supporting veterans who were and civilians who were injured by mefloquine. We have uh, yeah, we have, and then the Veteran Association Food Bank. Um, that has a huge network of veteran volunteers who pack hampers for veteran families, and they have deliveries every 6 weeks. And on average here in Edmonton, for example, they support over 200 families every month,
Wow.
and that's with food and also with donations.
Well, let me just throw a little wedge in here. This is sort of ticking me off right now as you're talking, because I can't even imagine what it would be like to even serve an hour in the military overseas, these places where you've been deployed and other people. And then you come home to the country that you sacrificed everything for, and you have to go to a food bank. Don't you find that I find that disturbing.
Right. And yes, it is, and you're not the first person to voice your concerns regarding that. I think it's also with being a veteran, um, people have a hard time reaching out for help until it's too late, until they're in crisis, um, and they're proud,
I
and
suppose.
also
Yeah.
many of them don't know who to call or what to do. And
Right.
that's why with the Veteran Association, they have volunteers who can call on your behalf to Veterans Affairs Canada or to
Okay.
Homes for Heroes if you need temporary accommodation and you need some programs to help you get back on your feet, because they provide that as well. The Veteran Food Bank also, they just had a meeting this past week with all of their service providers in the local area. So we've got Canada Connect is providing support. We've got True Patriot Love Foundation. We've got local service clubs who are getting involved with the food bank. We've got so it's not just food and financial support. It's programs
Hmm.
and so employment uh, and also rehabilitation. Perhaps,
Beautiful.
if people need retraining, uh,
Hmm.
vocational support.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of good things happening there, but yeah, they filled a gap that was they
Yes.
filled a necessary gap, like a gap that was missing, and they even have Veterans Affairs representatives, the field officers. They're in communication with them regularly
Hmm.
to help with those veterans who are in immediate need. So it's wonderful to know that they're there.
Yes.
It's a safety net, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And most of the volunteers are veterans, so it's a very welcome environment. And I well, they were the first place I went to when I landed here in Edmonton 2 years ago. They helped me with my move,
Wow.
and because I was friends with a couple of volunteers, and they said, "Bring your things over here, Jill. We'll hang on to them for you." As I was getting resettled, and
Nice.
so I'm so grateful to them. Hmm.
Nice.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Now, I'll speak on behalf of the Disability Channel right now, because
Hmm.
one of the reasons that I wanted to be involved with the Disability Channel was because of the work that they do for veterans. So Jay started a program which is funded both federally and provincially, and he's getting ready now to start his next group. But he's a media guy, so he's been in all aspects of the media industry. And he thought, wouldn't this be great to provide a platform where veterans and the disabled community could come and learn the media business?
Hmm.
So behind the scenes, in front of the camera, behind the camera. And of course, a lot of those jobs, you don't have to, you can sit and do a lot of those jobs. So if you're disabled and like maybe you've lost a leg, or there's a piece of your body that's not there, that doesn't affect anything from here up. And so he and his students, 85% of them get jobs right away.
Right,
So
because there's so much media now, everything is online.
Yes.
So
And
these are life skills now that are necessary moving forward with the trends.
Yes. So it's very timely, and they're affiliated with Mohawk College, and so he's that's what the Disability Channel is really all about. And of course, we're looking to have some sort of potential role in the Invictus Games coming up in February 2025.
Okay, great.
And yes, and that's Prince Harry's big baby, and this is there are 500 disabled veterans coming to participate. It's like the Olympics for those
Where is
of us.
it being held in 25?
British Columbia.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard something about that.
Yeah, and I didn't even know what the Invictus Games were. I didn't even, that's how far out of the loop I've been.
I was going to go to the Invictus Games in the Netherlands in 2020, but they locked the world down.
Oh yeah.
I was going to go to the 75th anniversary of Victory VE and then go to the Invictus Games in Amsterdam, but oh well. But
maybe we'll go this year. We'll be going this year, right? Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be awesome.
And we have the potential. We haven't got it yet, but secured. But we have put in an application for us to be part of the broadcasting team that's there, that's going to be there, and take some of our students that we have and graduates to support, because they're going to need about 80 people from the media industry to support the broadcasting side of things. So we're very connected to that, and we're looking forward to meeting and interviewing all of those beautiful athletes that are coming. And it's very handy to us, Jill. We're not far away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Drive.
Yeah, exactly. Or we fly, because it's going to be winter, February 20. It's later in February. So yeah, and it's all very positive. The Disability Channel is a big part of getting the word out for veterans as well, like we're doing on Thursdays. And I'm so grateful to have you as a co-host when we want to talk on and for and behalf of veterans, because you're the real deal. You were there. I wasn't. I was the product of a veteran, though.
Yeah. And your husband served as well.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He may have worked with my dad in Rivers, Manitoba.
I know. Wasn't that something when you guys were talking, that your paths probably crossed?
I'm certain.
Because Ron's oldest daughter is your age, and she was born in Brantford, Manitoba. Yeah, so it's a very small world, really. Right. Okay, well, we're going to take another break just to get people used to the cycle of every 15 minutes, and can hardly wait to put our first advertisers up there. And so if you have a book or a product or a service that you would like to have featured, and here's the thing, Jill, what I want to do is, on Mondays, for those of you who are new to the show, Mondays we do self-care, self-empowerment. And so we would love our advertisers to be people who are in that industry. And then on Tuesday, we do finance with Dr. Ramin Modiri, and we'd like our advertisers to be in the financial industry on Tuesdays. So I'm going to match up our advertisers with the themes of our show. So you're not going to, be watching a show and there'll be an ad come up for an American Standard toilet. No, they can buy a sponsorship if they like. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. But and then Thursdays, of course, is Veterans and a specialized community, so our Indigenous community. So we have lots of Indigenous business owners who could be advertising. And as well, on Friday, anything goes because it's Fun Friday. Now
Mm-hmm.
we'll skip our break because Jay's here,
Oh, all
and
right.
yeah, and I'd like to have him come in if we can hear him. Good morning,
And he's muted.
guys, and you're no sound. No.
Oh.
Okay. Jay, I just reviewed what the Disability Channel does for veterans. I did all of that in the broadcast already, but we would love for you to say hello. No, no, no. This is no, I'm sorry. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Mr. Jay Stoyan, our founder. He's traveling today and he wanted to come in for a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in his vehicle, as you can see. And now he's frozen.
It is fun.
Oh, yeah, it is fun. I'll just take out here for a second until he gets organized. So let's do our 30-second break as planned.
All right.
Stick with the plan, Jill. Stick with the plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give him a chance. Welcome back, everyone. We're just wanting our founder here to get a sound going.
Mm-hmm.
Test 1, 2, 3. No, we cannot hear you, honey. All right. All right, Jill. We can keep. Oops. Testing. I heard a little blurp of some sort. No, we can't hear you. Okay, there we go. All right, back to business. So yes. The thing about the advertising, we have very large sponsors right now. Everybody from Veterans Affairs to Bell Canada to Cogeco to, we have lots and lots of support that way. But the shows, because they're on so frequently, Monday to Friday, and of course, Doug Smith and I do the press box. So there's actually 6 full episodes a week where people can be showcasing. And we wanted to create a plan that would be very affordable for people. So, your home-based business owners, people who are maybe just getting started in their business, with whatever it is that they're doing. And I think we'll do not 30-second promos, we'll do 60-second promos because you can actually say quite a bit in a minute. So if you have the first 30 people that come in, it's a special introductory offer that we've put together, and it's really doable. So if you're interested and want to know more about that, let me just put my contact info up here and reach out. And I have a whole list of people that I'm contacting because I've been in business for years and I know lots of business people. So call the doc if you want to advertise on the show. Joe, what do you think of that? Jill, what do you think of that idea?
I love it. I love it. And I wonder if
your ads.
I wonder if some of the students within the disability channels program and training could do some of the advertising, like putting together the promotion.
Oh yes, that's already in place. Yes, they'll be doing the editing.
So there are people there to help you with your
yes, absolutely. And that creates work for them, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, no, we have some wonderful people who can do graphics and put on all the bells and whistles for us, and we have that, and that's part of what you're paying for too. And then you have a professional commercial that you can use on your website. You can use it somewhere else. You can put it up on another program. We don't care. So
Right.
it's an amazing deal. So call me, call the doc.
Right.
And today you're listening to the Today Show. And Jill and I are talking about some services that we know about for veterans.
Yes.
So, yes. And Jill, I'm going to put your name up here because there may be a veteran out there that would like to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're just maybe a little nervous about calling Veterans Affairs, or
Yes, because I
they
do,
don't.
I do represent some friends of mine when it's necessary. I'll tell you a story. Last summer, someone I worked with in the military was in a financial bind and was getting medical treatment in his community, but he needed a new engine in his vehicle, and he put a call out on Facebook saying, "Can anybody help me? I have to get my vehicle fixed, but I'm on disability right now because I can't because of my health." And so Veterans Affairs has an emergency fund, and on average, it's a grant, and it's usually $2,500 is the limit. But I phoned on behalf of this veteran. I had his consent to speak on his behalf. And I spoke with a representative in Veterans Affairs. They said, "Oh, we can go higher than 2,500. It depends on the situation." And so, sure enough, we got him a substantial. They paid for the full engine replacement for this man's truck, so he could go to his medical treatment appointments. And the money was in his bank account within 2 business days. And all I did was pick up the phone and say,
And
what
this is our co-host here that's talking who did this. Wow.
Yeah, yes. And so I was just happy for this fella because, the last thing he needs to worry about is how to get to his appointment because he lives in a rural area. And he couldn't afford to buy a new vehicle because he wasn't able to work, but he needed a new engine. And so, okay, we'll send a payment to the garage that's fixing your vehicle, and you don't have to worry about it. And
Isn't that
so
wonderful?
I was really grateful that I was able to help out.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't always work out, but at least you get the information you need to help people navigate the system.
Right.
Sometimes it works out really quickly and like that situation, but sometimes it can take a little bit of time because we can only do so much, and at a certain point the veteran that you're supporting has to jump through some hoops themselves. Like they have to leave the house and go apply for a health card in the province where they live.
Right.
We need a provincial health number to get you in to get assessed, et cetera, et cetera. But these folks, they've really, so that's how much support they need in some circumstances. They can't leave their home because because of their mental health.
Right.
Yeah, they're afraid of government. So, just to encourage them to do the work that they need to do. I'll guide you through it, but I can't do all of it for you.
No. Right.
You have to take some action as well. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I do what I can, and because my background is administration and program management, etc. It's easy for me, and I've always enjoyed helping and finding solutions.
Yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a business all in itself.
It can be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Because you know the ropes. I couldn't do it, but you can.
Yeah, and I'm tenacious. If I feel like
No, not you. What? No, I haven't seen any of that.
right, and some days you phone the government, and this happens frequently. You'll phone and you'll make an inquiry, and you get certain information from one agent, and then you can call back the next day, speak with somebody else, and get a totally different answer.
Oh
A
yeah,
totally
they're
different solution.
yeah.
For
All of
example, myself, I had an application in for a claim, and I was in a very challenging situation. I needed some treatment, but of course these treatments are expensive, and so I had asked for my application to be red zoned, which means to put it ahead of the to speed up the process. And they said, well, the only way you can do that is to show that you have financial stress. And I said, well, it's not. And to jump through the hoops for that is quite difficult. And I was told that the only way you could red zone your application is for financial stress. And then I found out a week later, oh, you can also red zone your application if you have unmet health needs.
Oh, wow.
No, so I applied through that, and then my claim was settled within 10 business days. And that helped me move forward with the treatments that I needed. So these are things that people don't realize. And now they won't red zone any applications for financial situations because they have the emergency fund now. What they'll do is they can red zone your application if you are over 80 years of age, or if you have unmet health needs. The financial side of things are taken care of now through a different process.
Oh, wow.
So, and they've streamlined it so certain conditions get taken care of straight away, like hearing loss.
Yes.
So they're managing things differently now, whereas before you would wait 2 years in some circumstances to get a decision on a claim for a hearing loss. Now it's around 4 months.
Yeah.
So they've managed to improve the service time, but they're doing their best. It's not a perfect system, but they're, I'm grateful for the support that they do provide, and yeah, it's just fine. If you're needing support, reach out to your local Legion has service officers who can help.
Oh, there's a good point.
Yes. Service officers who know the system with Veterans Affairs Canada, so you can have an advocate work from the Legion work on your behalf. The food bank, the Veteran Association works across Canada, even though they have 4 locations here in Alberta for the Veteran Association Food Bank. They support veterans across the country.
Oh, wow.
And so they have a network. So you don't have to be an Albertan to benefit from the Veteran Association.
Yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's lots of resources there. You just have to tap in.
Right. And you could just Google help for veterans, and I'm sure lots of things would come up, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But don't be afraid to reach out. That's, I should have known about these programs years earlier, but I just carried on and struggled and just figured, well, I didn't know. I didn't know until things got to a point where I had to reach out for support.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well,
and
we're
in such a better place now because of it.
Yes.
Such a better place now because of it.
Well, let's talk about that, why it's so hard for us to reach out for help. Where's that coming from? Because a lot of times, in our own business, I experience that. It's almost like the really bad stuff has to happen first before people reach out. So what's your thought on that? Why it's not just for veterans even, but just at large, people at large who need help, because we can't help if we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Can't support a person if you haven't told us.
There's embarrassment involved with it in certain circumstances. You don't want to admit you need help. You want to be strong. Especially with veterans, we're self-sufficient. We're supposed to be providing the service and support, and being strong, and responsible, and setting the example.
And a lot of pride there.
A lot of pride, and so to show any kind of weakness is embarrassing. It's shameful. You don't want to be judged. Fear of judgment. it can be a real challenge, and especially for men.
Oh, yes.
Because they want to be the hero. Many of them have families. They want to be the pillar of their family and the provider, and it's a real challenge for many. And unfortunately, things have to get to a crisis before any action is taken.
Exactly. And then sometimes it's too late. It's like it's harder to transition then, and get the help. Now we're going to try Jay one more time here, and that'll be a great way to wrap up the show. So let's bring him in.
Oh, hopefully we can hear him.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
There you are.
You can hear me. Wow. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with this technology. I'm on my phone, but I stepped out of my car.
Okay.
And as I know you're celebrating Veterans today, so I have my veteran sweater on, Veterans for Healing, as you can see my logo there.
Oh, yes. That's Fabian Henry. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. With Fabian. Yeah, Fabian. So obviously big supporter. So I just wanted to jump in and just see how you guys are doing. And thank you again for showcasing veterans, our heroes.
Yes. Every Thursday.
Yeah, give me a little update. What's going on today?
Well, we just, between the two of us, Jill and I, and Jill in particular, we talked about helping to support veterans with information about sources that they can access for support. Mm-hmm. So I featured the Disability Channel today. You'd be really proud of me. And I featured, Veterans Voices of Canada. Another friend of mine runs that. My knowledge is limited, but Jill is like a resource. She just has, her background is admin in the military. So she's actually helped veterans get funding that they needed for, I think you mentioned a car engine, from, maneuvering the system, making calls to Veterans Affairs. And she has shared a lot of places where veterans can go and get help. So that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that's great, Joe. I know you're a wealth of this resources and knowledge, and you seem like you know every veteran in Canada, which is great. Which is great.
We're a family, we're a family.
Yeah, so let me just share a couple updates, especially if this is all veteran related now. So our Ontario programs, which are going to be soon Canada-wide, which we're in the midst of doing federally, but Ontario programs are now have the green light for our next veteran program. So any veterans across Ontario, online or in person, if you're in Toronto, we would love to have you enroll in our programs, which are free through the VA confirmation. You got to go through the VA because it's open to all veterans, and you get paid while you take our course. Not bad. Not bad. And then, so open it up. So all veterans, we'd love to have you learn a new skill, new trade in media, get a job either at the channel or through our affiliates, including some big news I can share with the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl, we have been there 8 years in a row, Media Row. We have huge support this year, adding on to the Dave Stevens and GSS show support through Your Home TV and Dominic and Sean. So right now we're in the midst of maybe extending our expansion, our exposure, our awareness with a stage or studio down at the Super Bowl Media Row 8. Now nothing is confirmed, but if we do, we would love to send probably Laurie and the Today Show with a small production team, media team, down to Louisiana. So for anybody out there who's listening now and would like their brand to be worldwide, there you go, Super Bowl, showcasing our employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans, and it will be campaigned on SiriusXM. So again, any sponsors out there that want to help Laurie in the Today Show, which means you employ persons with disabilities and veterans as production, we would more than welcome you to the games. Super Bowl 59 in Louisiana, February 9th. Let's go, sponsors. That and, that's
question for you, Jay.
Sure, Joe.
Where do veterans in Ontario go to find out about their eligibility for the program that you have just mentioned for your
They could email me and I will forward them on to our employment team liaison officers, and they will take you through the VA with the steps. But the veterans have to go online and register and do that, but we are right there to answer any questions and support. This is why I was mentioning earlier, I think a couple of shows ago, that we're putting together a veteran task force team, not only for our employment programs, but in case you need housing, whatever you need, medicine, health, you know what I mean? So that's what we want to have, and we want to have veterans run it because you guys know what fellow veterans are looking for and what they need. I don't know. I'm not a veteran, right? But I can at least facilitate the proper channel so we can help more veterans because I know, Joe, a veteran needs help. Well, he's got to go over here and he's got to go over there and he's got to go back over there. And before you know it, they're done. They're done. They can't do it. So that's why we're stepping in and we're going to help veterans get the support that they deserve and need.
Well, thank you for all you're doing. It's much
Awesome.
appreciated, truly.
I love it. And remember, the Invictus Games is at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I told the potentiality of that too. And Jill shared that she had planned to go to the Invictus Games when it was in the Netherlands. And then, of course, COVID hit. And she didn't get to go. So I
had my airline ticket booked. I had my Airbnb reserved.
Wow.
And then
so this year they're in BC. Hey, that's right next door to us.
That's a little closer. That's a little closer. And so what would happen is the Super Bowl's on February 9th. The Invictus Games start on February 8th. So we want to be two places at once. So we'll either probably have the Today Show down at the Super Bowl, showcasing our employment programs with Laurie. And then I want to probably have Press Box out in BC with Doug. So, Jill, there might be an opportunity to bring the Today Show liaison officer out to BC with you so we can do two, right? We can do the Today Show and in Toronto, right? So, again, we're looking for kind sponsors and we're a not-for-profit, so we can offer tax receipts, right? So everybody wins. Everybody wins. We showcase your logo as an ability champion at two of the biggest events worldwide, Super Bowl, Invictus Games, and the proceeds go towards employing persons with disabilities and veterans.
Oh, that's fantastic.
How cool
win,
is
win,
that?
win. Win, 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 right?
Win. Yes. Win-win.
So I expect after I get off this call to receive about 40 emails to say, where can I sign the check, Jay?
Yeah. Here's Jay's email. Here's his email. So if there it is on the screen, jay@disabilitychannel.ca. So yeah, no kidding. Who wouldn't want your product at the Super Bowl? I mean, really, people, that's a no-brainer, man.
It is. So I'm gonna jump off, but I just want to thank you for letting me come on here and spew some good news and positivity, and we will see you tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
You bet.
Okay. Have a good one. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
How cool is that?
He's spinning plates. He's always on the go.
He is a go-getter, this guy.
That's wonderful. You know, that program that he's offering to veterans in Ontario is provincially organized because of the colleges, the education facilities. But some eligible veterans, they've got a pot of education funding sitting in an account with Veterans Affairs waiting to be utilized. And it can be up to $80,000 in education funding, depending on how long you served. So if anyone is curious, if you released after 2006, you might want to contact Veterans Affairs to see if there is any education funding in a pot sitting waiting for you to utilize.
Awesome.
It can be anything from you can take a part-time photography course at your local community college, and they'll cover your tuition for your course, and they may cover equipment, purchase of equipment, your camera, your computer, etc. So there is funding there for veterans. Just make a call to Veterans Affairs. Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, you and I'll talk more about that too.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're nearing the end of our hour, Jill. This is the fastest hour of my day. I say that every day. And tomorrow is Fun Friday. We do have a guest. I'm going to kind of keep it as a little bit of a surprise, but a
Oh,
musician and artist. And so we like to feature the arts on Friday, and Jill, you'd fit right in there too. So anyway, tomorrow, that's what we're going. Jay and I are doing the show tomorrow. So yeah, so it's all fun, and I just really love organizing the show and getting our guests here. And I just want to thank everybody that has helped to get the show off the ground. It has been in existence for quite a long time, but it only used to broadcast once a week.
right.
So when I was invited to be a host, I said, well, if it's not going to run 5 days a week, I'm not interested, because I know that the consistency of being on there every day, that's how you build your audience.
Mhm.
And I want to thank my audience. I want to thank all of our viewers. And the one thing that we just ask in return is that you share the show.
Mhm.
And especially today, if you have anybody that you know who's been a veteran, and whether they're struggling or not, the
Yeah,
ones who are not can be of service to us. So,
absolutely.
right. So if you know a veteran, they need to see today's show. Jill, you've been a power host today and just full of so much great information. And I really appreciate you being here when we want to talk about veterans.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Laurie, for all you're doing. You're working so hard with 6 shows a week, plus, running your own programs and helping people, helping my friends as well. So thank you for all you're doing.
Oh, you're so welcome. All right. Well, it's time to go, and we'll be back tomorrow. You've been watching the Today Show here on the Disability Channel with Dr. Laurie and Corporal Jill Younghusband. So we'll see you soon. And Jill's a frequent flyer here, so this is a good thing. And you're a natural. You're a natural.
I'm getting used to it. I'm more comfortable with it now, thanks to you.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's excellent.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Say goodbye. Talk to you all later.
Wonderful day, everyone.
Yes. Have a great weekend.